Welcome to Portland Tea Party, the most important episode of the whole year. We're going to vote. It's the 2024 general election, and we are all about those votes. Federal is the one taking the most of our bandwidth, but the local vote is where your vote really has the most influence. So let's go through it together. I haven't voted yet. I'm going to do it here with you live and get you through this crazy election. All right, you're going to need a few supplies. You're going to need your voter's pamphlet. You got two of them. You were registered to vote because we already talked about that quite a lot. But you're going to need this voter's pamphlet. It is your Oregon general election. And then there's a separate one for Multnomah County. This one is very important because it is our Portland elections and our county election. So make sure you have both of them. Next thing you're going to need, probably more important than these, is your ballot. There are two because of ranked choice voting. So many choices, and I'm in District 2, so that's the vote. That's the ballot you're going to see, and the people. I'm going to go through people from a different. Anyway, we'll see when we get there. So you've got your ballot with all the state stuff, and then you've got your ballot with some of the local stuff. So I've got my two ballots. I've got my postage paid envelope so I can mail my ballot. You can also drop your ballot in an official drop box. Just look those up online. And you're going to need a blue or black pen. Now I see that my pen is white, but the ink is black. So I'm all good. The ink just has to be blue or black. Okay, let's dive into the first thing. And let's start with Portland because we're going from local to national. We've got our voter's guide, Multnomah Votes. It's got right on the front how to return your ballot. So really easy. There's lots of helpful information in here about ranked choice voting. First time we're doing it, we're going to get through it. It's no big deal. All the different things in lots of different language. Where all the ballot drop sites are is on page 6. It's even got driving directions. Are you kidding? So easy. Could not be easier. We're the only state that has all mail-in ballots, and it works just fine. So I don't know what everybody else is freaked out about across the country. Get with it. Get with the Oregon styles. Oh my goodness. We've got pages of driving directions. We've got them in a lot of different languages. So then on pages 20, 21, we've got how to vote. You don't have to read that because I'm going to show you. It says what not to do. But you might want to go over that, and you can pause this video while you're voting as I'm telling you how it works. So we've got pages and pages of how to do it. Now we get to the candidates. This is the fun part. So there is on page 34 a guide of where the candidates are, where each race is happening. Now this is for the county, so there's going to be races in here that don't apply to you. So like I said, I live in Portland District 2. That's where I'm registered to vote. And so that's the only things I need to look at. So when I look at Multnomah County, County Commissioner District 1, the districts can be different for the county than for the city, I believe. But I am Multnomah County District 2. So I am going to go over here. I'm going to skip District 1. I don't need to even pay attention to it. And I go straight to District 2 where I see one voter. So the candidates supply their own profiles. So that makes it fair. They get the same amount of space, same amount of words. They get a photo, their name, occupation, occupational background, educational background. They get to write you a letter. They get to show a quote. They get to show who's endorsing them. That's a really good way to look at who you might like for your candidate. Don't worry about the signs on people's lawns. They're not an actual symbol of how great they are. I mean, great at design approval, probably, which to me is kind of important because I care about aesthetics. Hello, get with it. Some of your signs are boring. Level it up a little bit. But I'm not going to count that heavily toward the person I want to win. I choose my candidates on several criteria. And some of this is tea. We better play the tea thing. All right. So I choose my candidates based on who understands the job. which is tricky because a lot of these people don't seem to understand the job. Who I think is capable of doing the job. We are hiring people for jobs to represent us, right? And then who has been effective in the jobs they've had. So that's a little harder to know, but you can know, of course, if they've been an elected official before, you could see their records. But just because someone's been an elected official before does not necessarily mean they're good at it or that they are acting in the interests I care about, right? So I'm not weighing that very heavily here. I'm weighing it in terms of if I've seen them in office, what have they done and what have they not done? And I have some tea because, my profession is not actually Portland Tea Party host. It is consultant to government leaders as well as other leaders in the community, small business, nonprofit, and government. And I care a lot about small business and entrepreneurship. So that's like a big issue for me is economic equity and equality. And I have been behind the scenes on some stuff that's been going on in the last few years. So I know some of the things that people do that are not helpful, but I also know who has been helpful behind the scenes. So that's heavily going to influence my vote. And then I also look at endorsements. If someone didn't bother to or forgot to or somehow didn't do something right in getting their profile in here, that's very concerning to me. And so that's a mark against them, quite honestly. And so when I go over here to match up Multnomah County Commissioner, then I'm going to look. Oh, no. Is it here? Where is it? Where's my Multnomah County Commissioner? Oh, it's here at the very bottom of my ballot, county office. And I see there's two candidates here for my area, but there's only one profile. So what could I do? I could go look up the other candidate online, organizations that I care about their endorsement. I could go see who endorsed them from, the Oregonian to Willamette Week to one of these many, 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 many endorsing bodies this year. And that's how I'm going to make my decision, right? So I can go ahead and do that. What I like to do is take my voter guide and read through people all at once and put like a star on who I'm going to vote for. And then I go over and do my whole ballot at once. You can do it either way. Now, if you're in Portland, you see the next page is City of Fairview. You don't live in the City of Fairview. So guess what? A lot of these don't apply to you. So don't be intimidated by the size of this voter guide. It's going to be okay. So you could skip right over to mayor. And boy, have we got mayoral candidates this year. Now, as you know, because I've told you so many times, unless this is your first episode, which I don't blame you because it's a very exciting episode, we have so many candidates because we have a new form of government happening. Everybody's going to be new next year, at least new. All the roles are new. So some people may have been in government, but the role is new. Mayor, our current mayor is not running again, so there's no incumbent. And then 12 city councilors, and you only get to vote for 3 positions. You get to vote up to 6 times. We'll get there. But the whole city council will be a new format. So everything's changing, and that's very exciting because we, the voters, chose that. We chose charter reform, which included breaking the city into districts, a new form of government, which includes a city council that's focused on only policy, not policy and running bureaus. The mayor will be a soft power mayor, they call it. And the mayor will choose the city administrator. The city administrator will be running all the bureaus in that org chart. So I'm also picking mayor based on who I think will choose the best city administrator, because that's the person who's really running things. Now, the council can veto that person, but I don't know that that's going to happen. So I really care about with mayor what city administrator they're going to pick. So I'm going to go through the different mayoral candidates. I see that some people put some effort in. Some people definitely didn't. Now, I said, do they understand the job? Now, some people, you can tell in what they say, they don't really understand what the mayor does or what the mayor has power to do. Now, I don't fully know the ins and outs of that, but some things are very obviously like they're like on a different page. It's like the mayor doesn't even do that. That's another big issue to me about city council. See, because what happens at the city level, what policy can they make versus where does that actually get decided? I'll give you a very important example. There's not a lot of ideological difference in the issues that our counselors are talking about. Everybody knows, because the polls say that we all care about dealing with the homelessness crisis the most. So all the candidates have homelessness in their platforms, right? We're a pretty progressive city. We're a highly Democrat city. So there's not going to be like different parties you're voting for in this. Their parties aren't even listed. But I noticed some of these candidates talking about how much their whole platform's about like healthcare, mental health, addiction treatment, homelessness. A lot of that stuff happens at the county level. So then I think, why aren't you running for county commissioner? Do you understand what you're going to be able to do at city council? Sometimes I look at what people's jobs are and I think, I kind of want that person to stay in that job, which is maybe not the best way to vote, but where can this person be effective and have the best impact on the community? And another one is, do I think people will have the qualities that I have been told are very important to the new city council and the new mayorship? And part of that is getting things done. I have a major complaint in this city that we are so idealistic, and for good reasons, good motivation. But what it ends up doing is putting us in a stalemate on everything. We don't try things and iterate and see what works and just act, spend the money that are collected in our taxes, creating solutions quickly. And so I want to see people who I believe will take action, not hang out in ideological, contemplation, and then 2 years pass and nothing has happened, which I know you feel about some of your issues. And some of that holdup is because maybe there's a deadlock between the city and the county and metro and the state. So you want to find people who you think can be effective in building some of the bridges that are just necessary in order for things to happen, because there's very few things there's nothing that one city councilor can just do and solve, and very few things even that the mayor can solve. And there's checks and balances too. So if people disagree with the mayor, city council could overturn it. So those are some of the criteria that I look for. And then you've got other things in here like City of Troutdale, City of Gresham, Lake Oswego. Don't need to pay attention to those. And then there's some ballots. So toward the back, there's City of Portland ballots. And you do really want to read those. And there are arguments in favor and arguments against. And you can read what you think the arguments, like which arguments you think are good for or against, and be persuaded that way. You can go online and research some more, or look at the endorsing bodies that you trust. Maybe you're in a union, maybe you are affiliated with like a transportation nonprofit or an equity nonprofit, and you want to see how they are endorsing what they feel about the candidates. Those are great ways to see how you feel about the different ballot measures. So we also, at the state level, in our state ballot, this is where you're going to see the federal election, whether you're voting for Kamala or Kamala. This is also where you can see like your state representatives. We're not voting on governor this year, so Kotek, you're staying. We are voting on attorney general. We're voting on state treasurer. We're voting on secretary of state. So these are the three other kind of executive roles other than the governor. So that's important also because often those people then will run for governor. So, that's why it's important to look at all these levels, because a lot of these people keep advancing. And so, do we want to get them in there now? Now we've got a lot of ballot measures, and I want you to pay attention to these because these are laws that change. So let me give you an example of one that I feel strongly about. There is one on ranked choice voting for the state. So that's interesting. If you like this ranked choice voting, there you go. One I feel really strongly about is Measure 118. I'm a solid no on that. It's about taxing companies on their revenue, not their profit. So if you are a company and you lose money, you still have to pay this tax on top of the loss. And then the money, through that at some point, each Oregonian would get a check for $1,600. Now, if you think you're just going to get $1,600 out of this, you got to look at it more closely, because how are the companies going to make up for that? They're companies, right? They're not just going to be like, oh, I guess I'm out a lot of money. They're going to get that money another way. And how are they going to do that? Probably by raising prices and other things. And also, Oregon is not a very business attractive state relative to other states. It's not like businesses are moving their headquarters to Oregon that often. I think we could do a lot better in attracting and retaining businesses, and we just don't need any more reasons for businesses not to be here. So I feel strongly on that one, but guess what? You can vote however you want. So let's look at our ballots. You see, you got to fill in really full circle, black or blue ink, what you got. I've filled out a couple of them, but they're ones I don't mind if you know. Now, if you are a friend of mine, I always say I will text you a photo of my ballot, because I like to influence other people's votes. So if you don't want to watch this whole thing, you're probably already shut it off, but that's an option. And then we've got the ballots on the back. Now, ranked choice voting. I feel like we need to play something for that. Ranked choice voting. This is the part everyone's freaking out about. It's not that hard. Now you get to vote for more than one candidate. So here you see all the candidates for mayor, right? So then you see a column that says rank 1. So this is your first favorite mayor that you want. So pick who you like the most out of these candidates and fill in that bubble. Then you can think, who do I want? Second column, who's my number 2 choice? So that's cool, because if your number 1 choice doesn't have enough votes, then your number 2 choice is still in play. And that's why they say ranked choice voting is more democratic, because there's a whole, formula that can dump votes for people who barely got any to the next level. All right. There's a whole demo of it on the Multnomah County website. It's pretty interesting. You should check it out. So here's the thing. You don't have to rank anybody, and you don't have to rank 6. You can rank up to 6, but if you don't want somebody, do not rank them. So if I have, me personally, there are 2 that I like, and the other ones I don't really like, and I don't want them to have any of my points. So I'm only going to rank first column and second column, and that's it. Out of here. Now, for city council, on the other side, I got my council candidates, and I'm going to do the rankings again. Will I rank 6? I don't think I will, honestly. There's only a few I feel strongly about in here. I don't actually know the strategy of that. Like, if I feel lukewarm about somebody, should I rank 4, 5, 6? I'm not too worried about it, quite honestly. Oh, it looks like you can write people in. Do not write me in. Do not write in candidates. Don't write anybody in. That you all messed it up before doing that. Do not write in candidates. It's a wasted vote. They're not going to get voted in. It's just not going to happen. So be strategic and smart, okay? So now, this is when you would pause and rewind the video and be like, what am I doing? And fill these out. Sometimes I have my own little things that I do. Like, if there's only one candidate, I'm not going to just necessarily vote for them if there's only one person listed here. And these judges, sometimes they don't even fill out their voter profile. And I'm like, don't insult me, judge. You still have to want my vote. So I don't vote for them if they can't even be bothered to submit that profile. Come on, tell me who you are. I'm not going to go look for you, judge. And then, wow, I have so I think these can all go in the same envelope. I'm not positive about that. Double check, but I only got one envelope, I think. This has been sitting in my house because I've been waiting to do this with you live. So I'm going to fold up my ballots. Yes, it says, did you return both pages of your ballot? See, there's instructions everywhere. It looks very alarmist, but it's because they're trying to help you. I'm going to put these in here, and I'm just going to put it on my little mailbox for my mail carrier to take, because he always does. It always gets there. I'm not worried about my vote being lost. But if I'm feeling like, I'm a little worried about it, or I'm just feeling like very patriotic, I might go to the drop box and deliver it straight there. That's it. That's voting. It's not that hard. I mean, we're so lucky in Oregon because we can sit here on our couch, just like look at this voter's guide as long as we want. We can sit and talk with our friends. We can vote live on YouTube. You don't have to tell anyone your vote, though. If you're like afraid that your roommate is going to get really mad because you voted for somebody different for commissioner, you don't have to tell your roommate and you can just keep the peace. But I like to influence other people's votes. And as you can tell, because why would I have a YouTube show about voting and civic engagement? But I just want you to vote, even if you vote differently from me. Of course, there are some people I think you'd be totally bonkers to vote for, like the other option for president. But you probably wouldn't be watching this if that was your option. All right. So now you have all the information you need. Now you can vote. Mail your ballot as soon as you can, all right? Because it's already going to take long enough to figure out with ranked choice voting for people who turn it in at the last minute. But maybe they can call it, if enough ballots come in. But let's just do it. Let's just get it in so that we don't do this late. So the deadline is November 5th, Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. That is the time by when you have to get your ballot in. And then all right, karaoke fans, it's time. I'm going to do karaoke this weekend. That's going to be my party. But let's talk about parties anyone can go to, because I can't have all of you come to my karaoke room because then I would have to share the mic. So there are some amazing events happening this week. Tomorrow, I'm going to be at the Governor's Marketplace, Portland. It is a great event that the state puts on. The governor herself, she's going to be there. It is a way for small businesses to find out how to contract with the government. That was a game change for my business to start doing government contracts. So come to this free event, go to some free workshops, meet every single state agency, and find out how you can get into the government contracting game. Love that they're doing that. We also have on Saturday, I think, a Dia de Muertos bike ride, altar tour. So Portland, I love it. So, so good. And of course, there's one I've forgotten already, but it's in the show notes. So be sure that you vote first, and then you can reward yourself with a party. It's going to be so great. Oh, that's right. Literary Arts Book Festival on Saturday, one of the most wonderful events that we're so lucky to have. Literary Arts is just a treasure, and we are so lucky to have that organization bringing top tier wonderful authors to our town. So if you are a book lover, if you love authors and you want to see what's on the cutting edge, definitely check out the book festival this weekend. And with that, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for voting, and I'll see you on the other side of the election.